What is going on, everybody? Episode 132, the WIwrestle podcast. 2 in 1 week, but there's a lot
It feels
going on.
right. It feels right, Jake.
It does feel right. What's
I
going on,
like.
dude?
We had the longest podcast we've ever had on Monday, recapping individual state. You said it on the thing, and I was thinking about it, and I think you're right. Like that, I think that was the longest podcast we've ever had. It was a
100%.
little over 2 hours, and normally, we're around an hour 30. A little over 2 hours. That picture behind you is crooked. That is going to bother me. So as long as you keep your head, it's still going to bother me. Now I know it's there. Yeah. That guy's crooked. I don't like that.
Yes.
I'm good. I'm on the phone, working the phones here a little bit.
But. I feel like all of our stuff, the state show was long, and it was good, though.
It did go long, didn't it? Longest one, too.
Yeah. Well, when you got some kick-ass guests, it's going to go a little bit longer.
Yeah, I said it on Monday, but I really was appreciative of those guys coming on. They just did a great job, and I know I actually was thinking about this yesterday. I should probably follow up again with them because I got a lot of positive feedback from that. People they just stood in the pocket, both of them. I just fired away questions at them, and it was a lot of positive feedback. Maybe not always people agreeing with stuff. I've said that I didn't agree with everything. That's not the point whether I agree or disagree. The point is trying to help further understand competitive balance. I know with the WIA, they talked about the ticketing and things like that. Try to just further understand it. I know that people at the WIA were really upset with was it TMJ4? They totally, I guess, classic news station completely turn the narrative and
which they did that to us.
Yeah, what the news station was saying literally wasn't true at all. And I'm not even surprised because everyone knows how media works. But also, they literally did it when we did the cooking in the kettle, like you just said. They said Ben was donating his singlet to raise money because he was broke and couldn't afford his. And we're like, that's not what anybody said at all. He's donated it because most of people probably listening know Ben. He's just a good guy. And he wanted to be a part of something that people are trying to give back for him. He wanted to help in some way.
Also, it's not like he's got the singlet was in a box anyways. It wasn't doing much.
It wasn't even hung up. But that's crazy that they said that.
Yeah, it is nuts. When that came out, we're like, what the heck? That was a complete turn. That was a big 360. But Team State now, we got a couple days left of season. We'll make the drive out to the lacrosse center. Very excited for that. I've never actually been. We'll think about just what overall Team State, the location, what.
Yeah, well, I'll give you three questions right off the bat, and it'll be, what are your initial thoughts before you've obviously gone? Your initial thoughts of going to lacrosse instead of the field house. Your excitement level on 1 to 10 scale for Team State. And the third question will be which division you are most excited for?
Excitement level overall, probably a 7. It would be higher if Division 1 would be more competitive. I feel like we kind of know what's going to happen, so that kind of hurts the. I mean, I'm obviously super excited. Anytime we get high-level wrestling in an environment like this, I'm all for it. Most excited division, I'm going to go Division 2. I think between the teams in there is just a lot of good action, a lot of good competitors, a lot of good matchups. So I'm really excited for Division 2. I would say my second division I'm excited for would be D3. The final one would be D1. Mm-hmm. And then I am excited. There's something about going to Madison for state. It's just I competed in the barn. Back-to-back weekends, going to Madison, the environment, the campus. There's something special about that. So I'm a little sad about that. But, I'm excited for change. And from what I've heard from Dow and Luloff and the other parties involved is that the lacrosse center is going to be a really good setup. It may not be the best location in terms of people driving and getting there, but the fan experience, the athlete, the coaches, there'll be more space. There'll be warming up for Team State, you practically couldn't warm up. There was nowhere to go. It was the competition mat, and that was it. There was no space. It's very tight. You're kind of mingled in with the fans. So I think there is a little bit of, fan separation from what I've seen at other lacrosse centers where they have bi-state.
You didn't go when I was up at Bi State. You weren't there.
Nope, I was watching everything on the back end because we were getting ready for Little Cheese the next day.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I got the lacrosse centers. As far as venue goes, it doesn't like remove location, and I have the right, and I think you do, as anybody does, but I think I'm a little more justified than others. I got a long drive for sure, right? Like I'm in Bayview, man, that suburb of Milwaukee here. So I got a long drive. Am I excited for that? No, no. But when we talk about the venue and the location of where it is, like what lacrosse, like where it is in lacrosse, and then the actual physical venue, Jake, I do got to say it is a great venue for it. There is something about the barn where you have people directly on top of each other that almost makes it more fun. It's like you can have, I think I've said this before, you can have like 4 people in the barn and it's just loud. It is like legitimately loud always. And I don't know if that's the case or not with the lacrosse center. I've only been to it twice. But with adding 8 more teams and next year adding women's wrestling as well, it's going to be loud. It's going to be a lot more loud. There's going to be a lot of teams showing up. So I really like that. But so you're sunk in. The wrestling's down on the floor and all the stands are up top. So like it's like a legit balcony and then you look down on all the wrestling. So they're on the floor. And then I believe they're going to do something with the finals where they have like bleachers for the teams themselves, I think. Don't quote me on that. But I don't believe there'll be any fans directly on the floor where the wrestling is taking place. They're going to be up in all the like seating fan area, which I think will be really cool. I know they held D3 Nationals there a few times, and it's obviously worked out well. So I'm really excited for it. I have very high hopes because I think it's such a great venue. And then when you walk outside, the one hotel has a catwalk to it. It's directly connected. And then when you walk outside, all your like bars and activity of just like other things to do essentially of lacrosse.
Right
You're literally in it. Like it's 100-foot walk, to go to like, I don't actually know
your local establishments.
Well, it just feels like a main street area right there on the cross. So you're like downtown, you're right there. I think it's a great venue. Once you get there, I think everyone's going to forget about the drive they had to make. Now they may hate the drive back. That's always a possibility because potentially a further drive. But I have really high hopes. I obviously like Madison, but I'm really excited what they're doing. I like that the coaches and the WIA was able to add more teams for it. I think that's really fun. And how the new format is going. I like that too. I like that all quarterfinals are happening together. Yes. And then all semifinals happen together and like that I am a big fan of. So very excited for it. Would be a little more excited if I thought D1 was going to be a bit more competitive, but
yeah,
I don't think it will be. Holman's the only chance, I think.
Yeah, and we'll get more on that later. But first, a look
Michael had the chance. He had the chance to compete at West Dallas Central for
That's
Team
nuts.
State.
When did that switch?
That's crazy. That's not so good.
What is like
in a high school.
So when was it that? Was that into the 90s? Like when did it switch to the barn?
That had to have been sold. I didn't know they even hosted it.
That's nuts.
I mean, in a high school
gym, wasn't individual state used to be at the barn?
I think
back in the day?
Yes, I do believe so. I am like a high school gym super cool because of some of the things it could provide with just how easily you can pack it. But sometimes like putting those events in like those big arenas, I don't know. I think from an athlete perspective, it definitely makes it feel a little bit more official. Unless they're able to, I don't know what they did at West Dallas Central. Unless they're able to like do it up a lot, with like run outs and all sorts of stuff. But I'm guessing it was just they outgrew their thing.
It is sick when the teams walk through the crowd. They can't
really
replicate
so cool.
that.
That's not going to happen, I'm assuming, anymore because they're down below. But
that was
first
sick.
time I saw that, I was like, what's happening? I'm like, this is sick.
That was really cool. But like you said, everyone competes together. So the Session 1 quarterfinals kick off at 5:30. You've got quarterfinal matchups for 1 and 2 in each division. So in Division 1, you got Kakano versus Milton. You also got Wanakee versus Brown Deer. In Division 2, you've got Evansville versus East Troy and St. Croix Falls versus Osceola. And then in Division 3, you got Wyerwega Fremont taking on Glenwood City and Marathon versus Aquinas. And then at 7:30 p.m., you've got quarterfinal matchups for all divisions for the 3 and 4 matchups. That includes Division 1 Slinger versus Bayport, D1 Holman versus Muskego. Then you've got Coleman versus Port Washington. You've got GET Melrose versus Denmark. And then in Division 3, you got Shiocton and Auburndale. And then Cedar Grove, Belgium, and Mineral Point. So that will be your schedule on day 1 for all the divisions. And then on day 2, all the semis take place together on 6 mats at 10 a.m. And then the finals start at 3. Saturday is going to be rocking. 6 mats. That place is going to be juiced. I'm super excited for that. But should we just dive into Division 1? Talk through some of these duels, these matchups?
Yeah. Yeah, let's do it. We have I was gonna say, obviously people are tuned in. We did make a disclaimer. The '90s, Michael said, we did make a disclaimer. There's a special announcement. We'll get to it after Division 1 here.
Yes. But jumping into it here, we've got Division 1. We start off in the quarterfinals with Kaukauna versus Milton. Kaukauna is your 1 seed. Milton is your 8. Milton's a good squad. They've got some good individuals. They've got 5 state qualifiers with 2 state champs, but it's just no one's keeping up with Kaukauna here. 8 qualifiers, 6 medalists. Wait, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 medalists, which is nuts.
7 of their 8.
That's insane. What's the record for medalists in a year?
The highest I saw was, well, remember I put this post out on Instagram, Jake, and I said what team has the highest? I appreciate everyone replying, but everyone kept replying a team. Most people, I'd say 70% of people just gave me a team. They gave no year or no number. They were just, it felt like everyone was just taking a stab in the dark, like Stratford, Kaukauna, this team, that. I was like, no, give me a year, give me the team, and give me how many medalists. That's why, because I didn't know the answer, so I was looking for it. People are just, I know, like Mason Kaufman put in the comments in one of them, he said Stratford, and I was like, okay, how many? He goes, I don't know. I go, what year? He goes, I don't know. He goes, I'm just guessing they probably. I was like, well, that's not what I meant. So I don't know the official answer, but the highest I saw came from Casco. I believe.
Seems about right.
I can pull it back up. It was either 10 or 11.
That's
I have,
insane.
this. Yes, and it was. Let me see if I can find it.
But in this matchup, we'll have 3 state champs taking the mat. Liam Crook for Kaukauna at 175 pounds. He is a 3-timer. And then for Milton, you've got 106-pound freshman state champ Brody Lewis. And 165 pounds, you've got Gage Gross, who won the title last week. DeGroot versus Gross was a absolutely fantastic semifinal match. Gross won 11-8. And there might have been a matchup at 120 between these two guys, but Kaukauna definitely rolling here.
Yeah, I after the Holman semifinal on Friday night at the Kohl Center, I started thinking, oh, they might have something here, because from their lightweights up until the middle there somewhere, they kind of roll with some really good guys. But then I started looking at it and I was like, I don't think that is Kaukana's lighter weights that probably aren't as good as Holman's lighter weights are still good, where like they'll make several of those they're going to be matches. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, when you get to that middle upper weights with Kaukauna, I don't think Holman has that same level of like where Kaukauna does with the lightweights. So I think those guys for Kaukauna are just going to roll. They could really get to 6-7 wins maybe from Holman, but a lot of their wins I think are going to end up coming from competitive good match wins where they still win it. But then Kaukana's wins I think are going to come with a lot of bonus points. And that's if they get it. If things go well, I think they get to 6 or 7 wins.
I mean, you've got a state qualifier at 50 for Holman, and then you've got no one till 285. And you look at Kaukauna, you've got 50, 65, 75, 90, 215, 285, and they're all freaking state placers.
Yeah, they're all placers. That's not even just qualifiers. They're all on the medal. They're state champs, top 4, like
6th, 4th, 1st, 5th, 5th, 3rd, like nuts. So yeah. But Kakana over Milton in that round one is definitely the prediction.
I'll say
Milton,
this too. You know what? I'm happy there's 8 teams in every division. I'm cool with it being in the lacrosse center, minus the drive. I think everything else about it will be great. Same problem as individual state. The seating is freaking insane. It's insane. This is that simple. The Slinger and Bayport wrestling as the 3 and 6 seeds, kiss my butt. Wanakee and Brown Deer, congratulations to both of you guys making a team state. Neither of these teams should be in the semifinals.
yeah,
Like if they had to wrestle a Bayport or a Slinger, I don't think it's a very close duel. You know,
no.
I just what do we?
Well,
I can't.
it's
Bayport as a 6 seed is crazy.
yeah. When they were they're very very solid squad. I mean, it's crazy that we're talking about these issues and same things happening in Big Ten. I mean, it's happening everywhere. You can't, as Ben said, you can't trust these damn algorithms. There needs to be a level of human input. I mean, some of
Yes.
those seeds, like Minto at the 1 in Big Tens after losing to undefeated Haynes, or Lucas Bird undefeated returning national champ. He's not like it's happening everywhere, which is nuts.
Because they're good
But
guys.
uh,
Yeah, it's like how as people we're included in this, Jake. How dumb can we be if we don't want to have some human input and we're just like, oh, let's leave it all up to the computer and the algorithm? No, because there's obviously going to be cases where it's just like you need the human input. You need someone that can't just do the numbers and be like, all right, some common sense here goes a long way, you know,
yeah,
a long way.
if you seeded it, what would you do? Kana 1, Holman 2. Who would you put
Oh,
as the
top of
3?
my head. Let me. Okay.
You're the team ranker.
I know I'm thinking right now based off of
You
that. I'm
probably
trying to
go. You
pull
probably
it off the
go
top of my head. It would go Kakana, Holman, probably Bayport because of
Bayport.
how many where they came from the sectionals. Then Slinger, then Milton, then Muskego, then Wanakee, then Brown Deer. I think that's off the top of it. That would be the order I
Yeah.
go. I'd have to dive into it a little bit deeper to check with everything, but yes, I off the top of my head, without diving into this at all, like in that regard, yeah, I would
That
go
checks out.
Kana, Holman, Bayport, Slinger, Muskego, Milton, Wanakee, Brown Deer.
I like it.
So I'm thinking like Bayport had wins. They beat obviously multiple state ranked teams to make it. They were in that crazy sectional. Slinger was right on the outside looking in the entire year for the top 8.
And they popped off at sectionals.
Yes, they did. They came from a good sectional. They have a good dual team. Muskego was a little bit further on the outside, but they were still like had to keep an eye on them, and they did earn a couple of good wins during the year. And then obviously they had to beat McWanago, who's another like quality team coming. And then you would go to Milton, and then Brown Deer and Wanakee after that, or Wanakee Brown Deer after that.
That makes sense.
I think that I don't know. Maybe somebody would say that's not the right order. I'm curious what order people would go with. I think that'd be the one.
Yeah. Well, moving on to the second matchup between Brown Deer and Wanakee. Wanakee has 4 state qualifiers with 2 placers. They've got Metzler was a 4th place finisher a week ago at 157 pounds, and then McCoy Smith won your title at 215. Brown Deer had 7 qualifiers with 2 placers, and Maximus Hay was your champ at 126, and then Mackay Rogers took 5th. Matchups happened at 157 where Metzler won, and something to note is that Brown Deer did use some of their female wrestlers at team sectionals, so it will be interesting to see if that is something that they use again, a tactic. I don't know.
I am curious to see who all wrestles
Yeah,
for them, honestly. Like,
because we know that Rogers
Mackay,
was battling
Max,
an injury.
the girls. Right. And I know Max was out for a lot of the year.
Yeah, so it's like,
Now,
dude,
I would think they're going to wrestle at team state, but especially if they have the chance to now make the semifinals.
yeah,
I don't know how they match up with Wanakee. These are not 2 teams that I overly dive into. I know they have 7
I mean 7.
that.
I mean, I'd probably go Brown Deer here.
It's yeah, honestly, especially if they have Rogers, and it just depends because if they have forfeits at like 6 and 13, I mean that could potentially be not only 12 points, but it could be a bigger swing. with I don't know. Again, I'd have to look into the matchups more
Yeah.
for that specific duel.
So that is the duel on the bottom half, the top half.
Do you think Holman makes it, or do you think Slinger or Bayport make it? I don't think Muskego beats Holman just right off the bat. Like if you're picking who's your semifinal matchups, I
I think Bayport. I think Bayport takes out Slinger.
agreed.
I think in round one, that's your
Gary
best
Russell,
duel.
we all saw him at state. You
Yeah,
know,
that is true.
leg was completely bandaged up. Now he is
Yeah,
one tough cookie, and he is very much a team guy. So I'm not surprised one bit if he is wrestling, but it at least it's a question. You know, we
yeah.
don't have beat reporters at the school.
I think that Slinger and Bayport is your best
If he's
first
out,
round
then I would
matchup.
guarantee Bayport to win. Sorry, I did that again. Yeah.
I think Holman beats Muskego. Holman over Bayport. Kakana over Brown Deer. Kakana Holman final, and I think Kakana beats Holman by 20 or so points. I think depending on where you start this duel, if you start at 6, it's a close duel. I think Holman picks up some steam, maybe wins a match
Yeah,
or
the
two,
end, right? Like towards
but then they get to
yeah.
157, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, it's just murder's row. So I think
It
it's
could be
one
a
of
lot more
those.
exciting.
Yes, I think it could be a close duel, but then you look ahead at the matchups on paper, and you're like, oh, you're gonna have to win a couple upsets. But that's kind of
It
how I.
also gives some inspiration to the guy that is out there where it's like, hey, we're at Team State. Your job is to not get pinned, it's to get majored, or your job is like to not get pinned, it's to get like it definitely makes the duel more exciting.
Yeah.
If the other team has a lead and they have to at this point it's about hanging on, you know, limiting the damage and hanging on, that does get exciting.
But any other thoughts on Division One? This is definitely the division that's just like, yeah, kind of just, it is what it is.
Yeah, and you know what? That's nobody's fault. If you want to blame someone, blame Kakana for being so good. That's really what
Yeah.
it is. Is they're just that good.
It is just remarkable what they've done and how they continue to do it.
Yeah.
And
Brett's calling me right now. Did he just start calling you?
He just called me. Best photographers in
He
the
must
game.
not be watching the show.
He's they had some questions about the photo albums. So, but for people watching, we're getting more photos uploaded, but there's a lot of photos to go through. So they're working hard on the back end to get those edited and up. But keep checking out that link. If there's a different link, we'll post it. But that is the bracket for Division One. I'll take this off. But we going into D2 or we?
Yeah. Well, I think probably a handful of the people in the chat know what's coming, or people that are tuning in live. But we we made a post, and it was honestly just on a whim. We were on the podcast on Monday. If any of you watched, and this has been talked about for years. People have been asking if we could try and bring it back. We just made a thing that said, what if we could make state champs for state champs, like make that fun thing happen, make that happen, and where the guys go out and wrestle each other that won it in their weight classes. And so then we put it on social media, Jake, or you put it on social media, and lo and behold, there was a lot of state champs that then dropped in the comments, several of them calling out another state champ, which
we love to see.
So awesome. I didn't expect that at all. And I'm like, this is so like baller of them. They tagged the other state champ, basically. They were, go look at the comments. It's on Instagram, and they're, are you down? Hey, are you in? Because like they're so yeah, without further ado though, we will be having a state champ versus state champ card. And it is coming up here real soon, Sunday the 15th. Same place as Big Cheese, Kettle Moraine High School. We will have a DJ, smoke, lights, the whole kit and caboodle, the whole thing. It's all going down. And guess what? I don't want to say every single one is wrestling, but
there's a lot of them.
There's a lot, like pretty much all of them. Pretty much all of them. But 3/4 of them. We use, you'll see it the card when it comes out, but there's a mix of D1, 2, and D3. It kind of worked out that way really well, where Maybe a guy in Division One was in the Division Two, couldn't make it, so a guy in Division Three has stepped in, and he's wrestling on one team, and maybe in Division One. I know one guy's going out to nationals for Division Two, so he couldn't make it, but then another guy stepping in from Division Three. So there's a good handful of every division wrestling, but I mean it's state champs for state champs. I think there's 21 so far, and we have a couple more to confirm in that are waiting on that are also state champs. There'll be 14 matches, 28, so 28 wrestlers. I think 21 so far are state champs. If I added that up correctly,
It's gonna be awesome. It's a bad time to cut out.
and I believe we'll have a few more as well. So, yeah, it's really exciting.
But
It's
we've got
really exciting. I'm super pumped that it's happening. In high school.
We've got the ticket link right here. Scan that QR code. Tickets are live right now. They opened up at 9 a.m., so go get your tickets. We're assuming this one is going to fill up, so secure your spot. We've got mat side seats, and we've got GA. So if you scan this code, you can learn more and secure your tickets. But I feel like this has been talked about forever. Everyone's always talked about it, and very happy that the athletes are willing to compete, put it on the line. It seems like they're very excited to match up against the other best wrestlers in the state, and it's going to be a great addition to the off season here to kick off the off season. One more week of great wrestling. I'm excited for it. So make sure to check that out. Secure your tickets. It's going to be awesome, March 15th. But before we dive into D2, a quick shout out to Combat Corner. They are going to be providing athlete shirts and some singlets to all the competitors. Very thankful for them. We've got a bunch of awesome merchandise up on our website. But in addition to our awesome merchandise, you can get about everything you need on Combat Corner. Custom shirts, singlets. They've got Combat Corner branded apparel. They've got Nike wrestling shoes. They've got everything you need, so make sure to check them out, combatcorner.com. But should we jump into D2 here? Yes, Shane, it will be live on Rokfin. Duel will be live for anyone that can't make it in person. But what were you saying?
I recommend making it. It's going to be electric. And
Yeah.
tickets are available right now. They just opened up at 9:00. Tickets for it are available. Don't wait, guys. We are 2 weeks away. I would leave that up there for a sec, Jake, if anyone wants to scan it. We're under 2 weeks away. It's gonna. I mean, this is the same place that we held the Big Cheese, and that sold out. I mean, that was straight up, no lie. For anybody that was there, they can attest to it. That sold out. I wouldn't wait on this one. I have a feeling it's going to have the exact same result. This is insane. We haven't had this in how long? I'm so pumped up for it. All these guys are wrestling. It's going to be nuts. Don't wait on getting your tickets. I would get them right away. There's a fire code. Last time we literally sold so many that we had to reach out to the fire marshal and figure that out because we were filling up too much. So don't wait.
That was like we were day of and the tickets were rolling in. We're like, is there are we gonna hit capacity here? We brought in the rollaway bleachers. Great problem to have. But make sure to secure those tickets. It's gonna be awesome. But here we go. D2 matchups at Team State. This is my division I am most excited for. I think there's gonna be a lot of great duels here. But kicking off.
So I wanted to ask you, Jake, right away. So you don't think, because there's definitely some population that thinks this is Coleman's tournament. You're not one of them. You think this is going to be a real exciting, different people could win, different teams could win?
I think there's just a lot of fun matchups.
Okay.
I think there's fun individual matchups. I think Coleman is a favorite, but I'm excited to watch St. Croix Falls versus Osceola. Evansville versus East Troy is going to have some fun. It's going to be some fun matchups within that duel. If the people that stay at their weight, like I'll see Bogart and Crandall wrestle every day if I could. Port Washington and Coleman's going to be just a lot of fun teams with a lot of fun individuals. But I do think Coleman, and it feels like the general population thought this too, kind of got hosed on the 3 seed. Because, I mean, they've been dominating this year.
They're a complete team, right? Some teams are built for tournaments, right? A Mount Horeb, for example, right now, they're built to do really well, and they would have won several of these duels here, depending on who they got matched up with. Obviously, they lost to Evansville, But there's teams that are built for individual tournaments where they're going to score a lot of points because they have some really heavy hitters, and then maybe they don't have the complete team. Coleman's a complete team, man, and that's part of what has frustrated people with the seeding of this is some of these complete teams are being punished, or what really grinds people's gears is there are, especially when we look at Division Three, a ton of head-to-head matches that have already taken place, like duels, and it's not even factored into the algorithm.
Yeah, definitely frustrating. But if we look at
Yeah, I think
you got some.
if I'm picking another team, I would say watch out for Evans. Huh?
It's crazy. We've never really had bad Wi-Fi at
Uh-oh.
your place before. I can hear you now, but kicking things off is Evansville versus East Troy. Evansville had 5 qualifiers, all 5 placed.
Oh boy.
5 for 5. That's insane. Very impressive there. Colin Fry was a 5th place finisher at 113. Colton Balling was your champ at 120. Liam Crandall at 138 pounds was a 5th place finisher. Tommy Heiser won the title at 175. And then Tanner Zappoli, I don't know, was your 6th place finisher at 285. East Troy with 4 qualifiers and 3 placers. You had champ Brady Collins, you had runner-up Landon Bogard, and then 5th place finisher Max Gonzalez. So East Troy, first time qualifying since 2006. Evansville is definitely your favorite on paper. They just have a good squad throughout, a couple more qualifiers. So at this duel, I'm predicting Evansville advances, but East Troy, they got some very powerful individuals. I don't know if you've got anything to add to that duel.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what's going on with the Wi-Fi, but you were in and out throughout that whole thing. So then I posted the link for those tickets in our comment section.
Nah,
What did you just say?
I just
Speed
said
run it.
Evansville, 5 qualifiers, 5 placers,
Oh,
2 champs.
yes.
East Troy,
Well,
first
I
time
got
since 2006 with 4 qualifiers and 3 medalists.
We've got. I think the 2 duels to circle and watch in this one are the bottom 2 with your 4 and 5 seeds. St. Croix Falls, Osceola, obviously Falls being the returning champs, and then Denmark and GET would be the other one that I would be most interested in as a team aspect. But I mean, GET I think is gonna kind of blow them out of the water a little bit. I don't think many of these first round duels are competitive. I think Evansville takes it to East Troy. Coleman's going to take it to Port Washington. Both teams will claim a couple of victories. Same with Denmark. They've got a couple of really, really good guys there at 65 and 75 with Kilpowski and Larson. They got a couple of guys on their team. But GT, obviously, was it Colton Koss is a hammer, and they've got a solid squad. So I think it's going to be GT, St. Croix Falls. I think the returning champs make it back to the semifinals. I don't know who. I'm torn between does Evansville make the finals or not? I've thought about this multiple times. I don't know that it happens, Jake. And they're the 1 seed. I'm not. I don't know that it, like, I don't want to go and say it doesn't, but
So who's making it out of this side of the bracket?
that's what I'm trying to figure out. So I think St. Croix Falls certainly. To me, their team is built for duels more so than others are. I think Osceola's is as well. They have obviously they're a wild card team, but I mean they had 7 qualifiers and was it 5 of them placed? I think, and Wyatt Hastings is a very good non-placer. Let me see here. Man, I might run back my pick on St. Croix Falls. I don't.
Because Falls had 5 qualifiers with 3 place winners. Osceola had, 7 with 5 placers, and they're the wild card team. That's nuts.
I think Osceola kind of matches up pretty well with even in Evansville, unless Evansville shifts some of their really good guys to different weights to try and take them out. Like Barker at 106 for Osceola doesn't have to worry about Frey or Bali. He can stay down there and get bonus points. Their next guy is a fifth place finisher, Berg, at 132. He doesn't have to worry about Frey or Bali bumping up. Crandall's the weight class above him at 144. Yeah, you could see Crandall bump up against Logan Meyer. That's a possibility. But they could also, depending on who wins the flip, if they try to do that, Osceola could bump up. And they wouldn't have to worry about Hastings. Like if they bump those guys up, they wouldn't have to worry about Hastings or Meyer bumping into anyone before they get to Heiser, because the next guy after Crandall is Heiser. I think Osceola matches up pretty good with Evansville, at least with the state qualifier standpoint. Osceola, and then at heavyweight, yeah, I mean Halvish he doesn't have to bump up to wrestle their heavyweight. He can be at 215 and all right. I just talked myself into Osceola making the finals.
I
We just
mean,
watched it happen live. The breakdown of looking at state qualifiers and the matchups. Now I don't know off the top of my head their other individual matchups. I guess you could take a look at the sectional and see how their guys finished for both teams at the sectional, the other individuals. But I may have just talked myself into Osceola in the finals as the wild card team.
that'd be nuts. Who'd Osceola
Well,
lose to at team sectionals?
it'd be the exact reason why we had the wild card. I do think they picked the right teams for the wild card. I think the algorithm worked out. I was nervous for a bit on that one, but I think they got the right 3 teams, honestly, for the wild card.
100%. I agree with that. Coleman. So you got Osceola coming out of that left side of the bracket or the top half. I would say Coleman is coming out on the other half, and I got Coleman winning it. I mean, you look at Coleman's lineup: 9 qualifiers with 3 placers, which is very, very solid lineup. And I mean, there's really no holes. You got 6, 13, 32, 38, 44, 50, 65, 215 heavyweight. It's not like they're bottom or
Okay.
top heavy.
Well, just saying, Barker at Osceola, higher place finisher. Nowak. Okay, so Nowak's a win for Coleman. At 32, they got Talonberg versus Ciencio. That's going to be a big time matchup. I can't just give that one to Berg. That'll be a big one. 38, okay, you go to Nowak. 44, that might skew towards Osceola. I don't know, Jake.
Could a wild card team win it? That would be nuts.
Maybe I just jump on the Osceola train. Okay, hold on. Time out. We're gonna do a quick dive into this since I'm so far. And this is the point of the show. We're doing this live though. I'm going to check on Osceola's sectional and how the other guys finished. I don't know. I may have talked myself.
Who beat them at team sectionals?
An owl just appeared.
Was it Coleman?
St. Croix Falls, I'm pretty sure. I think they're the same one.
And then that's the first round matchup?
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I gotta look. Let me look. I think it was them. It was one.
It's kind of nuts.
Yeah, it was St. Croix Falls, 42-31. So they must not match up in the other weights very well.
Well, what do you
I
find?
forgot all about that. Hastings got a forfeit. Myron got a forfeit. Meyer got a major decision. They lost the team point as well. Berg won. I mean, they won the weights that I kind of just said I thought they would win. But let's see. They gave up a couple of falls that they got to avoid if they're going to pull the upset this time.
Who's getting pinned?
The guys that didn't qualify for state, 3 of them at least, and it came at 120, 126, 175, 113. Man, Osceola's got to stay off their back. I mean, that's how they. I mean, every win. I'm not kidding. Every win for St. Croix Falls, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They got 7 wins, and all 7 were by fall.
Well, I know what
So
they're
it
working
went
on this week.
7-7 in matches. It went 7-7 in matches. They need to figure out how to stay. Practice is staying off your back and stalling.
You're starting on your back for 20 seconds. You're getting off. We're practicing. I mean, dude, that's such a.
They could pull the upset. They could pull the upset in this because it was. I mean, I think it's probably harder to get falls at all 7 weights again than it is to get several of them to stay off their back. Now, they do need other. If they're going to go 7-7, they're going to need those bonus points to come somewhere. Like they're going to need their guys to get some more bonus points again.
Yeah.
Like instead of a 12-0 major, probably going to need a tech or a pin, right? So I don't know. Can they do it? Yes. Will they do it? That I don't know the answer to.
I mean, it's crazy.
Maybe they can't beat East Troy because maybe they're non-state qualifiers. They have 7 of them. So basically, their other 7. This is what it comes. You need a complete team. That's what you need. You need a complete team.
That'll be interesting. So, knowing all this, are you still picking Osceola on that top half?
I'll pick them over St. Croix Falls just to look for some ruffle the feather, shake it up. They are the returning state champs, so these guys know how to do it. Drake Peterson knows how to pin people. Is all I'm saying. That guy can pin you. I don't know.
Well, it's gonna be exciting.
I'm waffling.
But on the other half of the bracket, the bottom half, Coleman and Port Washington, that'll be a fun duel. Then you got Denmark in GET. I've got Coleman. Coleman, I think, just rolls. I mean, GET had 8 qualifiers and 4 placers. They've got a good lineup throughout. Denmark with 5 qualifiers and 2 placers. So I've got GET winning that one.
So Ciencio, I didn't realize this. So Berg from Osceola got a medical forfeit over Ciencio in the Conci quarters at individual state. So I wonder if Ciencio wrestles at all. That could be a big one.
It's a massive one.
Well, that's both teams would have to make the finals. But for Coleman, for that matchup to happen. But for Coleman, that's a big one. Obviously, if I mean he was a top 5 guy in the state. So I mean I know he did a podium, but he was good. So
Anything else from Division 2? I think we're both on the consensus that Coleman's taking home the title.
I think I don't want to. They're not a lock to me. No, because they came from. I'm not saying compared to some of the other sectionals, I don't think their sectional was as tough. So 9 qualifiers, yes, very impressive. But they had 3 placers, right? So they have a very quality team, a dual team. But they beat New London to make it to team state. So New London was not a state ranked team this year. I don't think Coleman's a lock like some people do. I think you could have some very competitive duels with potentially a SCF or an Evansville. Yeah, I don't think they're a lock, but I do think they're probably the most well-rounded team. They've always been a well-rounded team in the field.
Well, I'm very excited for those matchups.
Bud says he thinks SCF is definitely taking out Osceola again. That's fair. You've seen him wrestle in person several times, as you said. Brooke, she's cheering for Osceola. Coach Cleve, I'm seeing your message now. I did look that up as well and saw that result.
But moving on to Division 3. This is the matchups. Your 1 seed, Wyowega Fremont, will be taking on Glenwood City in round 1. Wyowega Fremont with 9 qualifiers. They have qualifier.
They are in an easy sectional.
Okay.
They smashed their team sectional teams. And now, don't get me wrong, Wyowega Fremont was in the state finals last year for team state, so they're a very good team. But they're also 2 things can both be true.
Yeah. So 9 qualifiers for Wyowega with 3 medalists. You got Lenoble was a 3rd place finisher at 113. At 144 pounds, you had Carter Birdyshaw was a 3rd place finisher. And then your champ at 157 pounds was Colin Ham. On the flip side, Glenwood City had 6 qualifiers with 1 medalist and Waylon Fry. To note, Waylon Fry did beat Lenoble in overtime in the semis, so that was a very fun matchup. Hopefully, we get to see that again. But there was matchups at 106, 126, 132, and 144 against these teams. I would just say that the overall depth of the lineup at Wyawega would make me think that they would be the favorite here in round one. To note, Wyawega beat Marathon 35-23 during the season, and they also beat Shiocton, the 3 seed, 52-27. So some interesting results there. The bottom half of the top half of the bracket, I'm excited for this duel. You've got Marathon as the 4 and Aquinas as the 5. Aquinas did beat Marathon. We were up at that duel, or I should say you were. It was a great Friday night of wrestling. Aquinas beat Marathon 56-24. Aquinas also beat Wyawega 45-30. And Aquinas also beat Mineral Point 35-26. So you've got wins over multiple teams, including the 1 seed. Marathon is led by the Underwood brothers. Blake was a champ at 120. Taylor was a runner-up at 113. Cale Quaitnance was a 6th-place finisher, and then they had qualifiers at 57, 65, and 75. Aquinas loaded lineup, 6 qualifiers with 5 medalists, including 2 champs in Sheard and Martin, a runner-up in Fleege, and 2 third-place finishers in Paulson and Hargrove. I think the big thing here is Swain Stencil did not wrestle at state, even though he was a qualifier. So that will be interesting to see if he is in the lineup. Definitely want to have him for this weekend.
Yeah, I agree. You definitely want to have him. Having seen this and kind of knowing a little bit more of the matchup. So I want to say Division 3, some people think we hate Division 3. Shut up. No, we don't. It's actually, this is the number 1 division I am most excited for at Team State. I'm fully invested in Division 3. I think multiple different teams can win this. So I'm really excited for D3. Marathon doesn't match up well with Aquinas. They made it here, which was awesome. They've been a state-ranked team this year. They're a good team, but they did not match up with Aquinas. Aquinas will win that first round. Fremont will take out Glenwood City first round. Now this is where things get interesting because Aquinas has beaten Wyawega this year at the same time. The same quad where they beat Marathon. But that was a little bit more close of a duel. I know it was the final score of that duel, Jake. Aquinas beat Wyawega 45-30. Okay, so 15-point swing, but there was some close matches in there. And the other very important caveat to that is Wyawega Fremont dropped. A lot of their guys dropped weight classes since then. So the matchups are likely not going to look the same in a lot of places unless they want them to, I have a feeling. So this, I think, is a very interesting rematch between Aquinas and Wyawega. On paper, you want to think Aquinas with the most recent result, obviously going towards them. But this one's coming. This is coming down to the wire, especially depending on where you start the matchup, you start the duel. Aquinas' guys mostly have all stayed at the same spot, and they have a very solid team. They don't really need to shuffle weight classes. But it does change the dynamic when you have basically one whole team has a healthy handful of people dropping weight classes. They also, I believe one of their starters was out during the duel, and he's back. He was back here at the end of the year, so that can make a difference, obviously. That's the duel to watch. In the semifinals, those 2 teams will both make the semis. On the flip side, they're not actually the wild card team, but like the mystery box team is Cedar Grove, Belgium. Okay, that's how I really feel like that. I've said it a few times this year. I don't feel bad saying it because the truth is the truth, and also I know I know a ton of the Cedar Grove people. They have an easier schedule. That's just the reality situation. They don't see a lot of the state ranked teams like that from any of the divisions throughout the year. So they have a little bit easier schedule, but they smash everyone that they're wrestling. So it's okay. They kind of pass that test. You know, if you're not going to wrestle those best teams, you better be smashing the ones that the other ones that they better not be close duels where you're just winning. They're smashing them. So they do kind of pass that test. So it's all right. How good are they? This Mineral Point duel, um, I think they might match up pretty solid. I think they might match up well with Mineral Point. So let's take a
I
look
mean,
here.
when you got 10 qualifiers for Cedar Grove, Belgium, Mineral Point had 7.
Well, and they
5
pass it. Go ahead.
Mineral Point had 5 medalists, and Cedar Grove, Belgium had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's a lot of firepower in that first duel.
Right. And yeah, and the thing that you wanted to see from Cedar Grove, right, with saying I say they had an easy schedule, it's like, okay, well, how many of their guys get on the podium then at state? Well, over half of them. 6 of them got on the podium. 1 of them made the finals. So also what you want to see from a team then if you thought they had an easier schedule. They had a lot of guys on the podium. But we have a interesting wrinkle because obviously there's no, as you know, there's not the true wrestleback to third. So a guy like Heinerman at 13, the younger or the older brother Chase, he places fourth, and then Burkhalter from Mineral Point places sixth. But those two didn't wrestle at state, so I know what they both finished even, and you always obviously want to finish odd, but that is something to note because if they were on the same Conci semi or something, would one of them have wrestled for, would have that result have flipped? Just because one placed fourth and one placed sixth, I don't think you can really just say that this one is the better one. Heinerman
Yeah.
maybe. Well, let's take a look who Burkhalter had to wrestle in the semifinals to go to state or at state. Let's see here. Let's see.
Triacton also has 8 qualifiers. 1,
Brockton
2,
has a
3,
very good
4,
team too.
5. 5 medalists. It's going to be a fun bottom half of the bracket.
Yes, I agree. I think 3 of those teams could really, kind of punch their tickets.
That might be the best half a bracket of all 3 divisions right there.
I would have to agree with you there, my friend. Okay, so let's see. Heinerman lost to Lenoble from Wyega Fremont 4-1 in the third place match. To make it to the semifinals, so he lost to Taylor Underwood to make it. He made the semis. He lost to Taylor Underwood 4-2. So he's right there to make the finals. He beat Clark. Clark was very good. Burkhalter lost to Fry to make the semifinals. Fry ended up winning it. He beats Underwood. So that's it, right? I mean, that's a textbook example. So Burkhalter loses to Fry, right? Fry ends up winning it. Heinerman, at least on paper, you'd say probably would have lost to Fry as well. He just drew in the quarters instead of like Heinerman drawing Underwood in the semis. So,
Yeah.
That'll be a good one. I do think Cedar Grove matches up well with them. So I'm going to pick, well, without going too deep divey, I think they probably match up well. Let's see. 13, 20. Kayson's going to have to wrestle Carey at 26. Carey's a freaking hammer. 38, 44 will be an interesting one. Both guys are state qualifiers. 50, that's good. 75. So yeah, I think they match up pretty well. I think Cedar Grove matches up pretty well. They could win this. I'll pick them to win it. Looking at the other side, I'm trying to go back to team results. Was it Triacton and Auburndale? Pretty sure they wrestled this year.
You said Triacton and Auburndale?
I think so. Yes, Auburndale defeated Marathon and Triacton this year. They also finished above Triacton at the Irish Invite, finished above Mineral Point at Bi-State by 15 points. Okay, so Auburndale beat Triacton and Marathon.
Is Aquinas your favorite to win it?
If they get past Wyowega, they'll be my favorite to win it.
Because Wyowega had beaten Triacton and Marathon this season. I mean, those are 2 big wins.
Yes, but they aren't going to probably see either of them if I had to guess. I wouldn't pick Triacton. I'm thinking Cedar Grove takes out um, Mineral Point, and it would be beneficial for them, I believe, for Auburndale to once again take out Triacton. So I think you could see Cedar Grove in the finals against the winner of Aquinas Waiawega, and from there, I don't know who I would pick. Aquinas, obviously, we've talked about that one, the matchup with Waiawega. They should be the 1 seed, by the way. They've defeated Marathon, Waiawega Fremont, Mineral Point. I don't think they wrestled Auburndale, but they've defeated 3 of the teams in this bracket, including the 1 seed. I
which
mean,
is
it's no,
just absurd
no,
that I just yeah.
and the 4 seed. They've already defeated the 4 seed, so I'm not even like they would match up anyways if you flip the 4 and 5, but they beat them.
Yeah. The 5, it is actually ridiculous when you say it out loud. It's like you have beaten multiple teams in the field. You literally beat the 1 seed.
And the 1 seed.
They make the seeding more complex than it needs to be. It's a lot of just nonsense and BS, and it should be very much more straightforward. But that's the one thing they just fail to realize, but whatever. But should be some very good action in Division 3. You said this was your favorite division. We'll take a look here at those first-round matchups. You've got kind of the split times. So 5:30, the matchups listed in white are your first-round matchups for the quarterfinals. And then at 7:30, you've got all 3 divisions competing again. So split quarters. And then on Sunday, everybody will wrestle together in the semis, which will be an amazing round. And then championships kick off at 3.
Yeah.
What?
Steve makes it. I forgot about that one. Waiawega beat Mineral Point this year at the Waiawega duels. I remember they beat him last year. Auburn beat you. Yeah, I knew that. I'm just reading the comments. Well, they're on opposite sides, and I don't think they will match up unless Mineral Point was able to beat Cedar Grove. I don't see them wrestling Waiawega. But if you're talking about seed stuff, yeah,
Man, I might have to go back on what I said about D2. D3 might be the most fun.
you're waffling. You're waffling.
Now that I've really looked at it. Damn. Because obviously you didn't do in the team rankings, so you're a little bit more.
Oh yeah,
tune.
yeah. So Waiawega beat Triacton 52-27, so they smashed them. They were the runner-up to Coleman at the Herb Tyler invite, so that's an individual tournament. And they won conference over Triacton as well. Okay. Cedar Grove, Belgium won the Dells invite. That's not the Dells duels. It's something separate.
I was going to say the Dells duels is on steroids.
Different. Something different. But yeah, the Dells was pretty awesome in there. Okay. All right.
I'm surprised there's not more massive duel tournaments. It's like the only one that's really big. You got the Warrior duels.
A massive duel tournament.
But that's like absurd. There's a lot.
How do you get that many teams to want to go to a tournament of that size?
Yeah. Because, I mean, individual tournaments kind of rule the land, at least in Wisconsin. Quick shout out to our favorite farm, Grappling Gardens. The sun is out. There's a little bit of warm weather here and there. That means stuff is starting to get growing and whatnot. So make sure to check them out at grapplinggardens.com. You can shop right on the website. You can check them out on socials, see where they're at, see what they've got in stock, see what's coming. They're at farmers markets and all that good stuff. So make sure to check them out on socials and grapplingarden.com. But what else we got? We got anything else? We've got some stuff. We got some previews and whatnot coming out on Rokfin. We posted some other articles over the past couple days.
Oh,
I had the state recap, second to last one of the year. We'll have one more next Monday for Team State. But, man, this just gets me fired up, dude. I'm so excited for this. So excited. My phone's been buzzing. Tickets are being bought. I look over. And
yeah, same. I have a 4-time state champ going back to essentially if they wrestled in 2010. So last time I did this with the Badgers in the 25, people were like, he wrestled in 98, 99, 2000, 2000. Shut up. He wrestled in 2001. So I count. If they wrestled it all within the 2010, 2011, even if they had a couple years before it, I counted it. But I'm doing a 4-time state champs, the best, like I'm ranking them. That should come out today. It's taken me a little longer because of obviously what we've been talking about. I've had a lot going on with that. Um, that'll come out, should be today, and I rank them based off their high school careers, not their college careers. The best of the 4-time state champs. I don't even remember the total, but there's a lot. So
I'm
that
excited
is,
to. I mean, people can probably get. Oh, sorry, I was already thinking ahead of King of Wisconsin about releasing the matchups, but people can kind of guess maybe a little bit.
yeah, a bit
But there's a little
probably.
sprinkle of all three divisions, which is exciting.
There is, yeah. There's a handful of right now. There's
I mean, looking at the doc that we have gets me fired
four.
up.
Yeah, what is there? I think there's 4 D3 guys so far. 1, 2, oh, 3, 4. I think there's gonna be I'm thinking at least 5 D3 guys competing. I think.
There'd be some good matchups.
Yeah, I'm
Very
pretty excited
excited.
for this.
But get your tickets. Get them while they're still around. Like we said, Big Cheese, that thing got filled up pretty quick. So secure your spot. We got mat side seats. We got GA seats. Sunday, March 15th at 2 p.m. Doors will open at 12:30. So make sure to get there, get your seat. It's going to be an awesome venue. Kettle Moraine always kicks ass. Great spot. Matt Light. Got the DJ. Walkout songs. I love walkout songs. Adding a DJ has been a great addition to our events. It's made for a good atmosphere. Plus, then I don't have to run the music. That's always stressful. I'm like trying
Yeah.
to aux, and it's like, there's a lot of things going on. But you got anything else for us before we sign off?
No, I'm excited. I'll see you guys at Team State. I'm really pumped up to watch. I don't know. I didn't really make a pick on who I think wins D2 or D3. I kind of copped out on that one. I'm honestly just really excited to see how it unfolds because I'm not certain that any team in Division 2 or 3 is a lock to win it. I think it could go a couple of ways. So I'm pumped. I hope you guys are too. I hope we see you guys there. It's gonna be cool.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Check out the socials for more info on the King of Wisconsin. Super excited for that one. Get your tickets.